Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sir Medieval, and today with only about 9 days left until we sink our teeth into the Camelot Unchained beta, I figured it was time to break it down and tell you what we might be able to expect from the upcoming testing phase. Keep in mind that I haven't tested out the alpha phase yet, and I wouldn't be able to tell you about the contents even if I did, so this will be information that I've been seeing from the developer/staff live streams, news updates, and announcements in Discord as well. I'll start it off by describing Camelot Unchained as a massively multiplayer online realm v realm v realm PvP game. There are definitely PvE aspects in there, such as crafting, speaking of which there's a class dedicated to crafting. There's also building, hunting wildlife, and there may be monsters/bosses in the game later on, if not when the beta begins. Would make sense lore-wise as well, but this will be primarily a PvP-focused game. Here's what you'll need to know about the upcoming beta. First thing is that it'll be a legitimate old-school beta. That means you should expect bugs, glitches, exploits, black loading screens of death, and maybe even game crashes galore. It'll be a lot safer to lower your expectations now in terms of how polished the testing phase will be, so that way it'll be a lot better if we get in there and it turns out that the game runs perfectly with all of us in there. They relayed information to us that in their Beta 1 document that there would be new ability, animation, and VFX systems put in place for this new testing phase, so that'll be nice to see as well. The beta will also have sped up progression, so we'll be able to experience most if not all aspects of the game during the test. To gain access to the beta on July 4th, the minimum price you'll have to pay is the $60 pack. You'll have to pay for that one if you want to get access to this new beta. There will also be a non-disclosure agreement during the beginning of the Beta 1, but that should get uplifted sometime during the testing phase. If you're unsure, you could always wait for that to go away, since it'll more than likely be uplifted quickly. It'll probably be very hard for people to keep quiet about what's going on in game. Ultimately though, if you're planning on getting a worthwhile experience out of this beta, or looking for a new game to play even, take note that it could be a while before this game is fully ready for action, so if you're planning on pledging, make sure to keep that in mind. Optimization wise, it does have a good chance of running smoothly, although we all know that things tend to go differently when you have thousands of players connecting to servers and interacting with your game aspects, etc. From other players' experiences in the alpha phases and my own personal experience in the Camelot Unchained building environment, also known as the Cube, I can say that although it's impossible to gauge how the optimization will flow when we get in there, so far it seems to be running pretty smoothly. Steadily above 120 plus frames with the GTX 1060 and i7 8700K, 16 gigs of RAM and on an SSD, seems to be running fine so far. It's also fair to note that even though the graphics are still being worked on, I wouldn't go in expecting anything next generation. If the gameplay makes it worthwhile, as it should in a PvP sandbox MMO, then I believe we'll be just fine. It'll definitely satisfy a niche that's in demand from the PvP community as well. Probably helps a lot that they're running the game on a custom engine, the Unchained Engine. Making use of Nvidia's PhysX system and huge draw distances, procedurally generating terrain on the fly, I can personally say that I'm very excited to try it out. Although I really hope we don't run into server node issues like you would see in a game like Mortal Online. That would be terrible. But like I said earlier, they've been doing a fantastic job showcasing all the aspects of the game and relaying information about what to expect from Camelot Unchained through news updates, Discord communication, and live streams. I highly recommend you to check these out if you're interested in asking questions that you feel need to come from an official source. I'll leave a link to the Camelot Unchained Twitch in the link down below as well. The second thing to know is that both the game world and our characters have been said that they will be wiped, probably multiple times as well. This shouldn't be considered a soft launch, and the next few testing phases shouldn't be considered ones either. This means that the game mechanics and features might not all fully be there or functioning properly, such as crafting and all the other races and classes as well. They actually just recently put in new additions to the crafting system, such as configuring raw materials and alloys and hooking them into the system. In a previous update, they spoke about developers working on updating the refining process, so that'll probably be related to it. But I can't tell you yet if that means we'll have a full-fledged refining system to our crafting. Expect some bugs, that's the best advice I can give. And lastly, the beta will only mainly be open during the weekends. However, they may decide to open up additional tests during the week. This type of schedule is compiled to make sure time, money, and resources aren't unnecessarily wasted. Which makes a lot of sense since the rest of the stuff is going to end up being wiped anyway. However, for all the competitive players out there, you should have plenty of time to figure out the best way to play the game for certain situations. But that'll also bring me to my next topic. Expect a lot of trial and error. With the amount of customization you can put into your character, 10 classes per faction, 21 different races across the board with different racial bonuses and banes that you can apply to them, attribute system, and on top of that being able to custom build our own abilities, and who knows what else, it could take a bit of time to figure out what is the best build for which situations. So take it slow, have fun, and enjoy the testing. This game also has a dedicated crafting class that is strictly PvE, not enabled to go beyond the safe zones if I recall correctly. But that class won't be available for the opening of the beta. In fact, it actually says that in the Beta 1 document as well. It'll come later. And because of that, everybody's going to receive a Vox Magus as a result in the testing phase, which is the crafting bench of Camelot Unchained. We'll also be given an item in our inventory to claim plots of land to build our houses. We'll have certain game modes in PvP such as Capture the Flag and Saturday Night Sieges, quote unquote, and more. And that's what you'll need to be expecting from the upcoming Camelot Unchained phase. Best last advice I can give is to remember that it's a beta. So with that being said, keep your hype trench coats on, make sure to remember that there's no friendlies in Cherno unless you enter the city with them, and stay warm as you enter this inevitable storm. And that's all for now, folks. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful night or day, and I'll see you next time. Later.